This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
A very good evening to everyone, and thank you for joining us here on Always Wolves Fan TV. Powered as the Extra Time Show, powered as always by our friends over at Wolf Life, who basically you can get an insurance and mortgage quote off in the link below, and also an entry in to winning that Wolves prize as well. We got some guests coming up tonight and our pundits as always, and we're going to be chewing the fat on that 1-1 draw away at the Cottage against Fulham. Obviously Wolves playing reasonably well in the first half, taking the lead. Obviously that injury to Cunha, that break, and then Fulham, to be fair, it was a really good goal that they scored, and in the end it ended on as even 1-1, and another point. Wolves on 24 games with 24 points. We will, of course, be looking ahead to Liverpool and Tottenham Hotspur coming up. Liverpool away on Wednesday night at Anfield, and then we've got Tottenham at Molineux following that. And we're also going to be getting everyone's highlight of the day for the Fulham game, then player of the match and their performance rating. But we're also asking the guests tonight and you guys in the chat, what is your favourite or what is the best Wolves goal ever scored, or your favourite Wolves goal? And you can also get on to that as well. And you guys in the chat, we want you to get involved in all of this. You need to look out for for a little something that's going along in the chat, which we'll ask you at the end to see whether you've got it. I'm not going to say what that is, but some of you are regulars and may know what I'm talking about. And hopefully we're going to have a very great show this evening. I'm delighted to bring on my guests tonight. We've got Golden Girl Lucy.
Evening.
We've got the voice of reason, Jack. And we've got, yes, he's back. It is Diogo Jota, a.k.a. Pablo Sarabia, better known as Paul Mansell. How are you doing, mate?
Evening all. Good to see you all, and see the comments in the chat as well.
Absolutely. And it is great to see you, Paul, because you've not been on for a couple of weeks, but we tend to, when we've done an away game, because I go away to a lot of the matches with Paul and his dad and stuff like that, with the producer. And obviously you'll be on the reaction after the game on the away game. So if it's a game where we've gone away and we're together, he tends not to come on to the thing. But obviously this one you're here. We've got Jack. Jack, how you doing, mate?
Not so bad. How is everyone? We all okay?
All good in the hood. And we're going to be digging and delving deep into your London weekender.
Okay.
And it's such a pleasure to bring back Smiler onto the show. Lucy, the Golden Girl, how you doing, mate?
Evening. I'm all right, thank you, my lovely. Yes, not too bad.
And I hope those people in your job and stuff like that were getting you down a little bit before. I had a better week this week.
Not so much. No.
But you've still got a smile on your face anyway. That's the main thing.
Yeah, that's a good.
I love the fact that you come on, and everyone loves having you. So let's just have a look down at the chat. Everyone's saying hi to you. We've already got nearly 80 following. Loads of people saying hi. I also want to say a big thank you as well, because we've had a surge of new members that have joined the channel recently. And you can get involved, and we have a Discord group. I think you're on there, aren't you, Lucy?
I am. Yeah,
yes. She's a member and everything, and we chat about everything during the thing. If you want to get involved with that, the link is in the description below or on the tab. Guys, a draw away at Fulham. I'm going to go with you first, Lucy. What's your thoughts and what points do you want to make on that game?
Before the game, I'd have took a 1-1 anyway, regardless. A point from there this season is a damn good point. First half, we smashed them. I don't think they touched the ball, did they? Because I didn't see them touch the ball. It was Frustrating second half, but everybody keeps saying, "Oh, we played rubbish in the second half." We didn't. We played exactly the same as we did in the first half. Problem is, they came out and played better, and that was the difference for me. But no, really good game. I thoroughly enjoyed the game itself.
That's good. And as you say, a point before the game, most of us had taken. Getting on to Paul, your view on it?
I think overall you've got to consider it as a point gained. I know that some people will make the point that having played so well for the first hour, perhaps we should have had all 3 points. But Fulham had taken 19 points from their last 9 matches. Since the World Cup, that would put them third in the table. And they don't concede many goals, do they? They've got an incredibly tight defence. So if you're going away to 6th place in the table, when you were a team that was bottom at Christmas, I think that's a decent point overall. And I think what I really wanted to see was a reaction after that Bournemouth match, because that was an unusual performance, especially in the second half. So this was more like Lopetegui's Wolves, wasn't it? And especially the first hour. It's a bit more like the kind of almost like dominant performance that we're starting to see. If you think back to Villa away, I'd say the first half was very similar to that. Didn't give them a kick. Didn't give Fulham a kick in this game. So overall, I'm pleased that we got a point. It could have been 3. But what pleased me most was the reaction to the Bournemouth second half, which was really poor.
Well said, mate. Some good points there.
Yeah.
Now, Jack, on to you, and we're going to delve deep into your into your weekend, because I'm intrigued. But just on the game yourself, obviously you've heard what Lucy and Paul have had to say. What's your take on it?
Yeah, no, I agree with what they're saying. I think a point away at Fulham, we'd have all taken that before the game. I think ultimately, I think that if you disappointment probably isn't quite the right word, but I think the frustration maybe is that we gave ourselves a really good platform, being a goal up at half time, to go and win the game, and we didn't. And it was a really good goal by Solomon to kind of snatch it away from us, and the save at the end from Sarr that's kind of kept us that point. It could be absolutely massive.
Yeah,
I think it was very similar to when we played away at Crystal Palace earlier in the season, and when, as Paul just mentioned, Villa away at the start of this year. 1-0 up, playing really well, and you just turn into your friends around you saying, we need a second goal here. When we're playing well and when we're on top, we need a second goal. We didn't get it, and that's what ultimately cost us. I think if we'd have got the second goal in that first half, or even just at the start of the second half, I know Jimenez had the headed in that went just wide, and the 1 or 2. I think Cunha, literally 2 minutes before the equaliser maybe, had a chance where he ran through and just couldn't get the ball out of his feet. Go 2-0 up, I think we probably get the 3 points, but ultimately you can't be too despondent, because a point away on the road is never a bad result in the Premier League.
No, it's not. I mean, it's again though. It's some people would turn around and say, again, we haven't taken our chances, and it's come back to bite us. Now, you've got to say that the Fulham goal was a great strike. It's kind of one of those, isn't it? I play football myself. We've all played a bit of football, and it's one of those where you've got the defender, on one side, and you just try and curl it around the defender. It was and Sarr was a little bit unsighted. He almost got to it, because it did come a long way, but it just beat him. And if it had gone a little bit to the right, it would have hit the posts. A little bit to the left, it'd have either hit a defender or the keeper would have signed it. But it went in. It was a great strike, and that kind of came just after Cunha had been down for about 5 minutes. It kind of disrupted our play, like you say. We were in control of the game. That injury disrupted. I mean, there's an argument to say that that should have been a yellow card. I know it wasn't Polina that did that tackle, but he made a challenge on Sarabia just before that. We had two players down, and that would have been a red card, but it wasn't given. I think it shook us a little bit because we made changes then. Fulham got that goal just after. And after that, it kind of after they'd weathered that storm and probably think, how will we 1-1? At the end, I was a bit concerned we might lose it, and we nearly did. It was a good crossover, and it was V somebody, I can't remember his name. Vicious or whatever his name.
Vinicius, yeah.
Vinicius, yeah. A header, and it's a really good save from Jose Sarr to keep the score at 1-1. Because I think had we have lost the game at that point, it would have been very, very deflating. But we come away with a point, and like you say, before the game, a point away at Fulham, who were going great guns, isn't a bad result. But you know, you think we could have had the 3. Lucy, back to you. You know, do you think it's a 2 points lost or a point gained?
Point gained all day long. Point gained.
It leaves Wolves on 24 games with 24 points. That's a point a game. Should that stay the same to the end of the season, which is will give us 38 points? That's generally survival, isn't it, Paul?
I reckon so. I mean, there have been teams that have stayed up on as low as 29. I don't think that would be the case
29?
This year. Yeah. I don't think that'll be the case this year because everyone's pretty tightly bunched. But you'd like to think that 38 would be enough. I believe it was 35 last year that Leeds stayed up with. But I think that number will be higher this year. So Lopetegui's had 9 league games and we've taken 14 points. Roughly 1.5 points, isn't it, a game? And over the course of the season, that would probably be, you'd be knocking on the door for the top 7 for that, I think. So if we keep going on the rate that he's, picked us up and allowed us to be at, then we should be okay.
How many games we got left now? Is it 14?
I think it's 14.
Yeah, 14.
Yeah.
Well, I think we need 4 wins and 2 draws.
4 wins and 2 draws, 14 points. Yeah. So yeah, you probably are about right. And I think that could come in home or away matches. I mean, we've only had 1 defeat in our last 6 away matches. That was at Man City.
Yeah.
In comparison, the first 10 away matches or the last 10 away matches, there was 8 defeats in that time. So it's not like, say, Forest, who are relying on their home form to keep them up because they can't buy a goal away from home. I think that we can pick up points on the road as well. And naturally, people will look to the home fixtures as, the bread and butter, the real chance to get, the wins. Palace at home, Brentford at home, Leeds at home, Everton, Villa, all still to come. But I think we can get points on the road as well.
Yeah, and we've got some very, very winnable home games. You win 3 of those, win 1 away, pick up a couple of draws. I mean, there's no mistake in it. It's a tough run of fixtures at the moment. 3 away games, and even the home game against Tottenham. You don't know what Tottenham are going to turn up.
No.
No. What's our record against Tottenham at home, Jack? Is it?
If I remember rightly, I think we've battered them every season and lost.
Yeah,
we did last year. At the start of last year, we battered them and lost 1-0. I think the first time we came up, we lost 3-2, didn't we? We were 3-0 down, completely against the run of play. We got 2 penalties to come back to 3-2 and just couldn't get the equaliser. And I think we had a goal disallowed that was never offside. Thank God for VAR coming in, eh? But no, I think we owe them one. I think because we've got a good record away, haven't we? I remember we won at Wembley when they were playing there, and we won just before the lockdown, didn't we? At their place, and we won there last year, didn't we? So
we have a good record away.
Yeah,
like away at their place, but not so much at home.
No, it's about time we put that right, isn't it? I think.
Bit like with Liverpool. That was nice. So, does anyone in the chat, or do any of you guys or gals on the hair know the last time that we did the double over Liverpool?
Well, we hadn't beat them in the league at home for so long, have we?
When was the last time we beat Liverpool, home and away? There's a good one. It'll come up in a minute in the chat. Someone will put that one up, but that would be kind of nice. Just talking about Liverpool before we go back onto obviously the game. Jack, how are you feeling? Are you going to that game?
I'm hoping to. Yeah, I'm gonna have to see how work pans out in terms of finishing time and whatever. But yeah, so hopefully. So, but it will be a kind of a last minute thing. So
how are you feeling about that game?
I mean, there's no reason at all we can't go and get a result. We saw that 2 weeks ago, didn't we, when we played them off the park and deservedly won. We technically won there in the cup, didn't we? But obviously the decisions kind of inexplicably went out against us. So, we go there, we respect them because they're a fantastic team with a fantastic coach, but we don't fear them. We don't go there thinking, bloody it's Liverpool, we've got to stick 10 behind the ball and defend for our lives here. We can go there. And if you look at, we're not Real Madrid. I'm not saying that for a second. But if you look at what Real Madrid did the other day, they soaked up the early start when the crowd were up and singing, and they were 2-0 down. They could have crumbled. They said, no. We know this Liverpool team's weaknesses at the back. We're going to expose that. They attack them with pace. They attack them with purpose. And they scored 5 goals and they could have had more. So if you go to Anfield and you play against Liverpool and you think the history of the place and the players they've got, this is going to be a really tough game, then it will be. If you go there and think, actually, there's no reason we can't treat it as equals and go there and impose our game on them, then you can get a result. Of course you can. I mean, I know they drew with Palace last night, didn't they? And there's no reason that we're any worse or better than Palace, is there? So if they're getting results against them, then of course we can as well. So it's one of those where I think, like I said to you last week after the Brentford-Bournemouth game, Lopetegui is very good at isolating games. You'll look at that game and say, forget what's happened with Fulham and Bournemouth and all these. Forget what's coming up. Let's focus on this game. What can we do? How can we stop them? How can we then impose ourselves on them? So I think we've actually got as good a chance as anything, really.
Well, I think, and it has been put up on the chat, that the last time we beat Liverpool in the league, home and away, was the 1950-51 season. Wow, that's like 73 years ago. That's mad. That's mad. 73 years.
But we wouldn't have been playing them every year, though, have we? So it probably sounds worse.
We haven't, because we were in the wilderness for quite a long time. But if you think of the Wolves team of the 50s that we had, and then we had a decent team in the 70s as well, and early 60s and all that sort of jazz. And then obviously we've been in the decline, and then we've come back and we've had a couple of victories against them. But we had a really good side in the 50s that were, champions of Europe and all of that jazz. And the Honvid thing, that was a top side, and we still didn't beat them home and away since 1950-51 season. It would be lovely to do the double over them, because that would feel really, really good. Lucy, we're going to come back onto Fulham in a minute, but talking about Liverpool at the moment, how are you feeling about that game?
I'm going, so I can't wait. I've never been.
Going?
Yeah, I've never been to Anfield before, so I'm dead excited.
Oh, fantastic. You're going on the coach?
Yeah, going with the Hatherton. I'm going to look after you, I hope.
Oh, it's you'll love that. You'll love it.
I can't wait. I really can't wait. I'm dead excited.
Yeah, no, it's and it's under the lights as well. And it's sometimes we go to like Anfield with fear, or thinking, I'm feeling quite positive about the game.
I've got no trepidation at all. If we get behind that team the way they did against Fulham, and get the songs going and get the noise behind them. I mean, I've always watched them on the telly, regardless. You never hear anything from the Liverpool fans. It's always the away fans. And if we get the noise going and get behind them 100%, I can see us getting at least a point.
Well, Chaotic Ranger is saying 1984 1-1-0, so maybe that's when it was. But there's a lot of people saying 1950-51, so we have to see that. I think that's a good point. On to you, Paul. The site, obviously ahead of this game, the Liverpool match we're looking at right now. Your thoughts?
I don't think they'll be looking forward to playing us after how we battered them a couple of weeks ago. I mean, it wasn't like a lucky 1-0 win, was it? It was that first half was a real demolition of Liverpool. So I think Jack hit the nail on the head when he said that we should respect them, of course, because they've got some world-class players. That if Jota's playing as well, he can be a handful, and players like to score against their former clubs, don't they? But I'm looking forward to the game, and I think that we can cause them some real problems. And there's no way I would have thought that a few months ago under Bruno Lage. I think Lopetegui will have a plan, and I back us to get something from the game. I feel confident about it. If we don't win, though, it's not the end of the world. As long as we put up a good performance, I think, because obviously there's a chance that you can lose a game like this. But yeah, I feel good about it, and I want to see us go there with intent to, not just to sit deep, but what problems can we cause them? And I think that we can, because as Jack said as well, their Achilles heel at the minute really seems to be their defence.
And they can be better. Well, I'm hoping that we can run rings about them a bit like that film Space Jam, and they're running around like cartoons, and we just put them to bed. That's what I'm hoping for. Let's get back onto the Fulham game. And Lucy, I'm going to come to you in a second, but I really want to dig deep into Jack's weekend, because Jack has only just come back from London. He went down on Friday and he's been out on the razzle. So, Jack, we need to know your weekend. We're going to come on to the game, but tell us what you've been up to.
The bits that I can remember. Okay, so we went down Friday. We stayed in Hammersmith. So we went out in Hammersmith Friday afternoon, Friday evening. Then we went obviously straight down to the game. Went back out in Hammersmith Friday night. That was good. And then yesterday, a lot of my mates came back home, back up to the Midlands, and then my girlfriend came down to meet me yesterday. So we've had a couple of days in London. Went to the West End last night to see Wicked the musical.
Oh, fantastic!
Honestly, it was brilliant. If no one's ever been before, yeah, it's brilliant.
Defying gravity.
Yeah, they did it a little bit better, but yeah, no, good effort, Dave. Yeah, but no, and because I'm not a massive musical person, but I can appreciate people who are good at what they do, and they were fantastic. To be fair, the singers, the actors, the dancers, all that, it was brilliant. And then today we had a bit of time this morning up in the Shaftesbury Avenue, Charing Cross, that area. Went up and down Oxford Street. She went in some of the shops. I stood outside with the bags, kind of do your bit, don't you? And then come back this afternoon. So yeah, it's been a busy weekend. Been really enjoyable though. Really good to spend time with people you care about as well. So that's nice.
Well, I think that's a fantastic weekend. I love the fact that you've gone to the West End, because I do love my musicals.
Yeah.
So whilst we're on musicals, everyone, we need to know what your favourite musical is in the chat. I will be asking. I will give. We've lost Lucy there for a second. I think she hasn't been defying gravity, and the internet's got her. So hopefully she'll be back shortly. We've lost her there, but yeah. So leave your favourite musical in the chat. We'll read those out. Paul, let's get on to the Fulham game itself as well, because I'm really interested to hear your points that you'd like to make out of that game and what you've taken out of it going forward.
I think I'll make 2 points if you like. The first one being Mario Lemina being back in action. Him and Neves are such a great partnership in the middle of midfield, and they just totally dominated that first half and the start of the second half as well. I think we looked the better side after the break. So he gives us control. He gives us energy. He did a couple of really good bursts on the ball as well, dribbling with the ball, taking us up the pitch. So I'm really happy with those two in the middle of midfield. I think that's a massive plus for us. My second point is the performance of Jimenez. And the reason I think that he played well was he had people to link up with. I think it's so hard when you're a central striker and you're playing against two centre-backs and there's two of you marking one. You can get easily marked out the game. You can become an island. But when you've got players like Cunha, Sarabia, Nunes, all buzzing around off you, linking up with you, I think that's how we can bring the best out of him for the rest of the season. So I want to praise his performance. But I think the reason behind that was he had players close to him. And obviously it looks doubtful that Cunha will be fit for this week and possibly for a while. We don't know the outcome yet. But I would play somebody just off him again at Liverpool on Wednesday. And I think that would be a big way that we can hurt Liverpool.
Well, we'll come on to that because we need to talk about the Cunha situation as well. But I think you make a really good point there. Jimenez, in the international fan reaction, someone made the point he looked hungry. He was intelligent. The head down for the goal by Sarabia as well, which he missed a good chance just before that, Sarabia. but he did finish it. That's why he's been brought in. He had a lot of goals and assists, so it was good to see that goal went in. And Jimenez played a lot, and he got his head in there, nearly scored that second. If it had been a yard the other side, the keeper wouldn't have stopped it either. So I think you make a good point. Lucy, we lost you for a second. We thought that the internet was defying gravity for a second, but you're back.
Blooming internet, it's blooming crap up here at the minute. It keeps going off. Sorry about that, everybody.
We got you back. That's the main thing.
I'm back.
So yeah, we're going to just talk a little bit now about the game again. Paul's made his points. Obviously, we want to hear your points from that game, but we also want to talk about your highlight of the day, your man of the match, and your performance rating for that game.
Oh, me.
Yeah.
My thoughts on the game. I thought we put in a good shift. All the players did. There wasn't one player that I thought was, below par. I think if I was going to pick one out, it would be Traore. He was missing some of his, his speed and going up front. Missing some of his tricks that he usually does, like he did at home when he was like that cartoon character, and he just jumped up into the sky, got that ball down.
I know what you mean. You mean he was a bit like that Tasmanian Devil or Speedy.
That was. He did that in front of us. I was like, how the hell did we keep that in? It was amazing. It's like his leg just went.
Everyone thought that was going out, and he brought it down. That was fantastic. It was
incredible. So we was missing a bit of that from Traore. But apart from that, I thought all the players did a brilliant job. Man of the match for me, Semedo. Semedo. Very, very close would be Bueno, because I love Bueno anyway. I've watched him numerous times in the under-23s, and he's one of my favourite players now. So of course, he was going to be, up there for me. But Semedo just clinched it for me. He was fantastic again. He's playing so well under Lopetegui. I'm so proud of him. He's doing really, really well. I think I'd give it a 7.
A 7?
Yeah, I think I'd give it a 7. I think
you make some good points there, as always, Lucy, because we gave it a trio. After the game, I gave it to Semedo as well, even though Sky and Sensation, because I wasn't able to go to Fulham, unfortunately, but we did watch it. We both went with Semedo. I thought we're both fullbacks played incredibly well. Bueno was given by Sky, but the channel that matters gave it to Semedo. So I'm with you there. Jack, we've talked about your things. We're going to come to you in a second. But Paul, let's talk about your highlights of the day and performance rated and man of the match. See whether you agree with Lucy.
Yeah, probably the highlight for me was the goal, the build up to the goal. It started in our own half. There's some really good link up play, intelligent cross by Núñez, really great header down by Jimenez as well into the path of Sarabia. So the goal, I think it was a really well worked goal. My match rating, I really enjoyed watching us play, especially in the first half. So if it was at half time, I definitely would have given it at least an 8.
Yeah.
Overall, I'd probably go with a 7 because we perhaps faded a bit. Maybe that was more down to Fulham than us. I don't think we started being poor. I think they just started being more like what they were capable of playing. So 7 overall. And for me, man of the match is a hard choice because I don't think anyone was a 9 or a 10, but I think there was lots of 7s and 8s. You mentioned Semedo, Bueno. For me, Lamina was the key player, though. So although I can definitely see Semedo or Bueno, potentially Jimenez getting it as well, I think Mario Lamina made such a difference. So he would be my man of the match on this occasion.
Mario Lamina. And you were singing that song earlier. What was it, Paul?
Mario Lamina.
Love it. I love it. And Jack, there was a song that was being sang, which has seemed to have catched on. What song's that?
Jeffrey Shee
Jeffrey.
went to Spain with his Lamborghini, brought us back a manager, Julian Lopetegui. Yeah,
That's caught on, and it loads of people have been humming
Yeah.
that around their rooms and stuff.
in the first half, it went on for about half an hour.
You can hear it on telly really
Yeah.
loud, and it's great
Half
to
an
hear
hour.
a new chant. For some of our new heroes, because that's
I
been
do
missing.
think it needs a second. It needs a second verse. It's quite
I was
short.
trying to rhyme Cortina and Lamina, but it don't quite fit, does it? So
Cortina and Lamina. Just kind of, but I'm not sure that Lamina would like to be referenced
not
to
that bad.
Cortina, though.
no.
You know, Lamborghini and
Lopetegui,
Lopetegui, that kind of goes Cortina and Lamina. I'm not sure
Yeah.
he takes that quite so well.
Yeah.
You want like a
We need a player that rhymes with Ferrari, don't we?
Ferrari,
Yeah.
or a Bentley or a Rolls Royce or something. But
Jose Sarri, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was and like Paul said, it's nice to have a new chant. I can't wait to hear that at Anfield on Wednesday night, and then at the Molineux against Tottenham on the weekend. Jack, I'm saying to you, your highlights moment of the day first.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to actually mention that as one of my highlights of the game. That song going for about half an hour, because what was brilliant as well, we were singing that, and then something would happen in the game, and it would start again straight away. I think the last time that happened, was last year when we had the Oasis song for Wangi Chan, and it went on for about the entire game at Crystal Palace. We haven't had that since then, so I think that's really, really, really good. The other thing that I noticed, I mentioned it a couple of times before, but when you're at the away end at Fulham, you're very, very close to the far touchline where the dugouts are. And Lopetegui, honestly, in that dugout, he's like a cartoon character. He's up and down, and his arms. Bruno Lage used to sit there, hands in his pockets, this, that, and the other. Even Nuno towards the end, hands in his pockets, looking like he didn't want to be there. Lopetegui, he never ever stops. There was one point, I think, I can't remember if it was first half or second half. I think it might have been Traore, because it was second half. It was Traore. Just stop running for a ball. And I thought Lopetegui was going to clobber him one. He ran down the touchline as if he was going to, and I think that's so important. We've talked about it, haven't we, before? But having a manager who's got that passion and that enthusiasm on the touchline, it just filtrates to everybody. So, and I think that's going to be so important in these big games to come, that the players look over and think, he's on our side. Yeah, he's pushing us and he's being hard on us, but he wants us to be successful. He wants us to do well here. Performance rating, I'm going to go 7.5, because I agree with what Paul and Lucy said. I actually enjoyed watching us play for a long, long time in that game. Listen, we were talking to some Fulham fans before the game, and they're surprised by how well they're doing, but I don't think they should be, because I think they're a good team. I think they are a very well-organised team. I think they've got a good manager who knows how to get the best out of his players. We were never going to go there and dominate the game for 90 minutes and play them off the park. There was always going to be spells in the game where they came into it, had chances, had opportunities. And ultimately, like we've said, a point isn't to be sniffed at. But so performance 7.5, we played really well. I'm going to do something that I never, ever, ever thought I would do, and I'm going to agree with Jamie Carragher. I thought man of the match was Hugo Bueno. I mean, the guy, for 20 years old, breakthrough season, he just oozes class and confidence. And what I really like about him, I said this last week as well, he only needs half a yard of space on that left-hand side. Bang, the cross comes in, and it's always beautifully flighted, beautifully directed. The sort of trajectory on it is always really good. I think he's got a real star in the making. I'm a massive fan of Ait-Nouri, but at the minute I can't complain about him not being in the team. And I think that's how well Bueno is doing. He's absolutely superb. Really superb.
I'm with you on that, because, Ait-Nouri, we were talking about Ait-Nouri and him going and stuff like that, and Bueno's come in. And you've got I got a 20-year-old and a 21-year-old on that left-hand side, and Bueno has been a what's the word?
Revelation.
Revelation or revolution? Revelation. He's been fantastic. And he's a young lad, but he looks as though he's been playing there forever. And like you say, he's always he likes his step overs. He's always trying to make something happen when he gets forward. But his defensive positioning is good as well. And so you've got both of those fullbacks, stroke wing-backs, however you want to call them, are both young. They've both got a bit of pace. They've both got bags of energy. They're both going to continue to improve, and they both like to attack as well. And on the other side, you've got Semedo, who is becoming more tactically aware of his positioning under Lopetegui. I think the back four might suit him a little bit better, perhaps. But he seems to, he seems to be there to cover as well. It was against, I don't know whether it was the game against Fulham or whether it was the game against Bournemouth. I think it was Bournemouth. They got up the field. He was on the other side of the field clearing up. You know the bit I mean? And he got there and he tidied up. So he seems a lot happier. Obviously, the one thing about Semedo is that he is out of contract in the summer. Technically, is on a free, but Wolves do have an option to extend for 2 further years. And there's no way in this world that is not going to be triggered because they're not going to let him go on a free. And, I think Lopetegui really likes him. What we need is another player on that right-hand side to challenge Semedo. I know we've got Johnny Otto, but, I'm not sure whether he's kind of past his best days or not. But maybe that's something they'll sort out in the summer. But both fullbacks, all 3 of them have been really improved under Lopetegui.
It's like they've got a confidence boost. To me, they just seem so much more confident under Lopetegui.
JS, yeah, absolutely. JS96 is out of contract in the summer. He is, but Wolves have a trigger option on his contract for 2 further years. So technically he is, but he won't be. He's basically got 2.5 years because there's no way they're not going to trigger that. Letting go for nothing. But yeah, no, absolutely bang on with what you were saying. So I mean, at the end of the day, overall, played really well. A good reaction to the Bournemouth game. And we knew Bournemouth, were going to come and they were going to frustrate. And there was a lot of the dark arts that they played, without doubt, was something that we've got to get better on. And Wolves reacted really, really well, like you said, in the Fulham game. I mean, I was so impressed of how we looked like a division above Fulham. The way we looked like the way we controlled the game in the first half because they hardly got near the ball. But we do need to talk about the elephant in the room, and that is Cunha. Up until he went off and he's got injured, and obviously we've not had an update on that. He's going for an MRI. Paul, you touched on this a little bit earlier. I mean, from your experience of your football injuries, of which you get a lot lately, playing 5-a-side. How long do you think Cunha's going to be out for? Do you think he's going to be in any chance of making the pitch on Wednesday night?
I doubt it. I mean, if they sent him for an MRI scan, then that in itself is a bit of a red flag. I mean, he tried to get up, didn't he, and walk, but he couldn't. He had to sit back down again, and really classy of the Fulham fans to boo him as he got stretchered off. But yeah, I mean, I don't think from what I've seen he can lead the line on his own. I don't think that's his strength. Maybe it will as he gets used to the Premier League a bit more. But I really liked him in that slightly more withdrawn position with a partner up front. And I think he looked quite bright, energetic. He actually was doing a lot of defensive work as well, pressing, closing down. So if he is injured for a period of time, then he will be a loss. But we're in a much better position now than we were a few months ago in terms of our squad depth. We've got quite a few options of people that could come in and play, maybe not the same role exactly, but come into the starting 11 against Liverpool and affect the game.
Well,
So,
I want to just stop you there because these are the questions I'm going to ask you, Lucy and Jack, on this. I agree with you. I thought him playing that kind of number 10 role worked better with Raul, and like you're saying, with Raul having someone to play off and people coming in. If Cunha's out and Raul or even Costa starts in that position against Liverpool, and we did look comfortable and played really well in it, who are you starting alongside Raul or Costa on Wednesday?
I'll say what I think Lopetegui will do first. I think he'll put Moutinho in for Cunha and play Moutinho in that kind of advanced midfield position that he's in, seems to favour him in. That's what I think he'll do. Personally, I'd play Sarabia centrally, like he did against Liverpool at home. He started centrally, didn't he? Basically as a second striker. And I'd start Traore on the right, because even though he wasn't that effective against Fulham, he was our best player arguably against Bournemouth. He got an assist against Liverpool the other week. And Andy Robertson has said he is the player that I dislike playing against the most. So I think away from home against Liverpool, it is set up perhaps for Traore. So I think he'll go Moutinho to make it like a 3 in the midfield. But I would be a little bit braver and play almost like a 4-4-2.
I like your answer. Lucy, on to you. Your thoughts on that same question?
I'm going Paul, to be honest. I was thinking exactly the same as Paul. Definitely.
So you're going to go with Sarabia as well?
Yeah.
I
like him going forward. I really do. I thought he was very, very good the other night.
Okay, good point. Jack, on to you. It'll be interesting to see your thinking on this.
Yeah,
I reckon you'd make a great manager, actually, Jack. Because you're quite a tactician.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get what Paul's saying about Moutinho, and I've got half in mind that I think that's what Julen will do. I'd play Raul and Costa as a 2. Because I've said this time and time again on here, haven't I? We don't get enough bodies in the box. And if you were going to sort of be really critical of the game on Friday night, Sarabia's goal was our last shot on target in that game. So, we still don't get enough bodies in the box when it really matters. So, and I think Raul will benefit massively from having someone alongside him. You saw that on Friday night with when Cunha was up with him and when Sarabia drifted in field as well. And I think Costa would as well when he's been on the pitch in a Wolves shirt, when he's had bodies around him, when we're throwing people forward, he's looked a lot better. So I'd be tempted, because I don't think at this moment in time that Raul or Costa can play on their own up front. But if you played them together, I think you might get a little bit more out of both of them, and then therefore the team would be better. What it means, though, is that you're going to have to drop a midfielder, aren't you? And at the minute, that's probably going to have to be Núñez, isn't it? And do you want to be dropping your record signing? I don't know. But, you've obviously got the other option of João Gomez. And the other name that we've got to throw into the mix at this point is Neto, isn't it? Because he's very, very close to coming back. And he'd obviously be ideal to be playing sort of just behind a striker. So, I mean, it's a good time to kind of for Neto to be getting back fit, isn't it? Because there might just be a little space opening up for him there.
Well, I think Neto back.
Yeah, well, I think he got half a game in the under-23s, didn't he? I think he could very well be involved in the squad on Wednesday night as an option to come off the bench. I mean, someone else has put here, Kishan has said, Costa and Raul possibly 2 alike, wouldn't play them as a pair. I will come back onto that point and put this back to you on this one, Jack, because he brought Costa and Raul on in the Bournemouth game, and they played for quite a thing, and they weren't that effective to me. Why do you think it would be effective against Liverpool?
Again, it's just bodies in the box purely and simply. And I think the Bournemouth game is an anomaly because we lost all our shape, we lost our composure. We were just banging balls into the box, weren't we? And open it, we got the second bounce, or it sort of fell for us. I just think in terms of getting the most out of our players, and I think that's what being a manager is all about, isn't it? It's about having a team on the pitch, and you know that you're going to get the best out of them. Now, playing Raul up front on his own doesn't work anymore. Since he's came back from injury, it just doesn't work. And that's not his fault, but it just doesn't work.
And we're not playing a back 5 either. We're not playing that sort of system.
No. And I don't think it works with Costa either when he's on his own up front, because his game always, when he was at Chelsea and when he was at Atletico Madrid, was all about bullying defenders, wasn't it? Now, it's no good bullying a defender if there's no teammates within 30 yards of you to pick up the second ball or whatever. You play them as a 2, and they've got someone to work off, someone to work with. I just think it's worth a go because, like I said, the key point here is we still don't get enough bodies in the box. Bueno put in a brilliant cross second half, and there was no one attacking it again. And Semedo, when he got forward, put one in, and Traore put one in. We just need to load that box and just put pressure on teams. We just don't do it enough, I don't think. And I think having a 2 up front, and even if it is, and I get what people are saying about them being quite similar, but I just think, it's not safety in numbers as such, but it's, you're increasing your probability if you've got more players in the box that when that header goes in, it's one of your players that gets it. Most teams in this league have 2 6'7" giants at centre half, don't they? If you've got one striker in the box, they're not going to win many headers. If you've got 2 of them there, you might just get one, and it might just make the difference.
I like your logic. So the other option for me is playing Pundits off Raul as well, because I think Pundits is always very, very busy. Your classic tall and small man type of thing. I think Pundits could link up quite well, and then you could have like Sarabia and Traore as well around that. So that's another option. I'm not that sure about Moutinho in that sort of position personally. But we'll have to wait and see. I'll tell you what, it will be intriguing to see. I mean, the back 4 are pretty much nailed on. He might swap Bueno for Aït-Nouri again, because Aït-Nouri does tend to do well against, what's his name? Salah. He's performed well against Salah, so that could switch there.
Well, he could play both, couldn't he? He could play Aït-Nouri further forward and play Bueno still at left back and Aït-Nouri sort of on the left side of midfield, if you like, where Núñez was playing on Friday night. That might work.
He could have tried him further forward, didn't he, at a point in the game a few games ago, but it never quite paid off. But that would be interesting. I think he'll keep one of them on the bench because he likes to swap them out, doesn't he? The other thing is, I was going to say, Lemina, I think's, he's kind of undroppable, how he is now. And then Neves is undroppable. So how does the likes of Gomez and Núñez get into that side at the moment? It's a great problem to have, especially with all the links that Núñez has to Liverpool and everything like that. And if he can't even make our starting line, it's going to be very, very intriguing to see what team he goes with on Wednesday night. And I really do hope that Cunha's not out for long, because although he hasn't scored, he's done a lot of work. He runs, he chases, he closes down. He's done really, a goal's coming for him. But I tell you what, I'd absolutely love it. I'd love it, in the words of Kevin Keevan, if we do them. Remember what he said that? But I'd love it if Costa scored. And he won us the game. I mean, I just want him to score one goal, please, just so he's got that memory of scoring one goal for us. So I hope he gets a goal, because coming here for all this season, and then he'll always be remembered for coming and not scoring, won't he? So I just hope Costa gets a goal. I think
he doesn't want to leave Wolves with more red cards than goals, does he? That's not what he wants to do.
It certainly doesn't. So I hope he gets, because he's coming, he has given a lot. You see him you see Costa in the backstage stuff, in the training, the way he is with everyone. He's been that sort of person. So I hope he gets his goal. So before we get on to the next question, which we're going to cover, which is the goals, we're going to quickly do the spin the wheel for everyone tonight, the random question. So I'm going to just share the screen on the spin the wheel. Can you see that?
Yep.
So this is the wheel, and this is for everyone and everyone in the chat as well. So let's see what we get this week. I hope it comes up with something a bit different. I'm going to spin. I am going to be doing new ones of these. Or what's this one? Oh, I like this one. What's your favourite Wolves strip, Lucy?
Oh, you're going to ask me the year of it, and I don't know it, but the one with the massive wolf's head. That was
97.
It had the Goodyear strip on it, did it? Did it have Goodyear on it? And it was a teal version as well.
Yeah. 96, 97. Yeah. Steve Ball hat-trick at Grimsby. That was the season, wasn't it, when we wore that teal kit?
There you go. Well done, Paul.
With a Costa hat-trick wearing the teal strip on Wednesday night. That would be nice. So that's a great shout. Paul, same to you.
I like the one we've got at the moment, the home kit. But if I can go off-piste a bit, because you didn't say home strips only. For me, when we were in Europe that season, and we had that black away strip,
that was the gold
with the line.
Maybe it's because we were good in it. My daughter was mascot in it as well, so it holds a lot of personal significance, I think, for me. Watching Traore, Jota, Jimenez as a front three away at Braga in that kit. So I'm going to stick my head out and say the black away strip from the 2019-20 season.
2019-20. I've got to pick someone up here. That's a good one. Kishan. It's not yellow. It's proper gold. If you go back to the 1930s and 40s, that's the colour. I don't get this stuff. It's the proper Wolves colour. I know there's various different golds and stuff like that that's going around. But if you look back in history, this year's colour is the same as
it's the proper one.
It depends on what era you are. Blooming too yellow, honestly. You know, I've got one of these buttons that are pressed, you know, for things like that. We're only joking, Kishan. The blue third kit for the 27 championship winning season we're going to come on to as well. Jack, yours.
I'm going to, funny talking about colour, I'm going to go, if you remember, about 2000, 2001, we had a really dark gold kit. It was the time when we had Georgian Dar and Ketspire.
Is that like the one that was almost brown? It was like a mustard colour.
I really like that kit, and I think it's partly because that's when I was really getting into following Wolves and sort of learning the player names and the statistics and that sort of thing. So I always sort of go straight back to that kit. Some of my favourite Wolves players wore that kit: Lescott, Muscat, Sinton, all those kind of guys. So I really like that kit. In terms of the modern ones, I think when we first came back up under Nuno, that really classic with the W88 logo and that was kind
the first Adidas kit.
Yeah. That was a really nice kit as well. I mean, the great thing is our colours and our badge are so iconic. You know, if you get the colour and the sort of the design of the kit right, you got a classic, haven't you?
I'll tell you what, me and the producer, we're talking about that. Well, she brought it up, Emma, literally during the League Cup thing, and she says like, at least Newcastle, it's black and white. It's a bit like Stafford Rangers. You got Notts County and a couple of others, but there's so many reds and blues. Ours just stands out. And she said, I'm glad we've gone for the lighter coloured gold, and we're not tangerine or orange and stuff like that. We actually stand out from everybody else. I think there's only Newport or something like that. We've got a very similar coloured kit to ours. And I think there's a lot of running this channel for the last 4 years or so, there's a lot of fans and international fans that have told me one of the reasons they picked Wolves since they've started following the Premier League is the colour of the kit and the name and the badge. It draws people in because you can look and they're looking for something. They're looking down that list and then they see our gold and black and it draws them in and they go, I like that. It's a bit different to everyone else. We stand out. And that stands out about. I'm going to. I like this year's kit as well. Actually, I like the Adidas kits and kits going by. But this kit, I wish Wolves would bring it out as a retro kit because I would queue out for it. Chaotic Ranger, the white strip with the green collar on the trousers. Well, it's a teal collar. I think it used to have the Goodyear on it as well, didn't it? As well as another one. That is a quality. I'd love them to bring out an away kit like that next year or something like that, white with teal. With a collar? That would be that's one hell of a good choice. That is, and I like as an away kit. I love this year's teal. Actually, I really like it. You know, it's one of my favourites. I love the colour teal, but I'd love to see a white and a teal kit come out. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah,
I think white is our best away colour, isn't it?
Yeah,
white and teal. I'll have a word. Yeah. I'll have to mention that.
Put on the match day group.
Yeah. We'll bring out the white and teal kits and mention it in the retail group. I love that one. Right. So to finish the show, we're going to be talking, guys and gals, about because I've got to write an article tomorrow for BBC Sport, which is. It's got to be in for tomorrow, about on Thursday, which is the best Wolves goal ever. you could be what you've seen, or well, obviously, hopefully you've seen it, because if you haven't seen it, it would be hard for you to say. You read it in the Pink years ago. It was really well written and described, but the best Wolves goal ever. And I'm going to give you the privilege, Lucy, of going first. What you're going to pick?
Mine is the Pedro Neto against West Ham in 2020 at West Ham, when Traore crossed it and he literally hit it with his left foot and it went straight into the right-hand side of the goal. It was just so unexpected, but it was beautifully hit. The way he just wallop straight into the back of the net. It was beautiful. That's my favourite.
Absolutely pinged it. And guys, you guys can get involved in this in the chat as well, of course. Absolutely. So make sure that you're putting your things down as well. Paul, over to you.
I could be here all day with this one because it's such a
I'll tell you
great
what, Paul,
topic.
give us your top three.
It's difficult.
I'm glad you said that because I've got three in mind.
I know how you. I've got to know you really well. I know how your mind works. You've got options. You're like, if your team was playing and you were the manager, you would have the player on the ball and you would always make sure there was three options to pass the ball all the time.
Yeah.
Go on, and you're in third place.
Yeah, in third place. It was the season actually where it ended in a heartbreak. We got pipped by our local rivals, but Mark Kennedy's goal at Stockport at Edgeley Park, it was like something out of a cartoon, like a cannonball being fired. It went absolutely roared into the top corner. So for me, technical wise, that's one of the best.
Who did he play? Who was that against?
Stockport. It was at Edgeley Park.
I'm going to need to look that one up on YouTube.
Oh, it was doing the rounds on Twitter actually the other day. That I don't know if it was an anniversary when, since it had been, but amazing goal. In second place, and this is for like the occasion as much as anything, Mark Kennedy again against Sheffield United in the playoff.
Is he paying you?
Semi-final. That goal after 6 minutes in the playoff final at the Millennium Stadium.
Is that the bit when he goes up to the camera like that?
Yeah, I mean, again, that was a thunderbolt, wasn't it? But
yeah,
great technical strike. But just the meaning of that goal after so many playoff disappointments. So that for me. But there's only one right answer here, isn't there?
Hold on, I'm just going to put it on the screen now.
The corner's cleared out. It takes it on his knee. It's a poor first touch, really, because it sets him back. But then from about 30, 35 yards, absolutely launches it past Scott Carson into the net. And we all know what goal that is. It's still the screensaver on my phone, actually, that goal. So, Ruben against Derby has to be.
That's it, Jack.
It was just like one of those moments where you were like, your eyeballs were popping out of your head, again, a bit like a cartoon character, but it was just...
one of them boo-woo type things. Yeah.
What have I just seen?
And I got that. I've got it's on the channel. If you look, Always Wolves Fan TV, Ruben Neves v Derby, you'll get that goal that I put on the channel 4 years ago almost now, and you'll see it from the North Bank. But like the actual one that you see when the camera's zoomed in from behind, really think, and you just see if you slow it down as it goes, you just see people's face going. It's like, oh my God type of moment.
And it was the noise straight after as well, wasn't it? There was like a mini second of stunned silence.
It was the shoot before and then.
And it was because normally when we score, everyone goes, yeah. It was almost like everyone, oh yeah, like you just couldn't.
It was disbelief and shock. It came out of absolutely nowhere. And as Paul said, the first touch, first touch was slightly back, and I kind of think that made
it a terrible first touch.
It's a terrible first touch. But if your second touch can hit the top bin like that, can you hit that in? That's a goal that will forever be up there, isn't it? So that's personally mine as well. Jack, you're up next.
I'll give you my top three. So I'm going to have the Neves one as well. That was my number one because that was my birthday as well. So that was nice.
What a birthday present!
Absolutely. Jota scored a brilliant goal in that game as well that no one ever remembers. I think if he flicked it over the defender, didn't he, and volleyed it in as well. Yeah. So that was a great goal. I was going to mention Mark Kennedy as well, but he scored one away at Walsall on his weaker foot that was about 35 yards, and it just clipped the top of the crossbar and dipped down into the back of the net. What player he was, Kennedy, as well. And he wore that kit that I liked as well.
Yeah.
One that no one's mentioned yet, Sylvan Ebanks-Blake at Charlton. Did you remember that one? When the defender was jockeying him out.
He spins and then knocks it in. That's a great goal,
The defender was jockeying him out to play, and he Cruyff turned the ball behind the defender and just ran back onto it and just sort of fizzed it into the top corner. And then he just sort of jogged away, tapping his badge like that, as if he does it in training every day. It was just a brilliant goal.
I remember that was a bit of an interesting game as well, because Charlton came back in that game, didn't they? And then they got back, and then just after he scored that goal, and it was like the keeper literally flew straight past him. It was a brilliant goal. Yeah, absolutely. Let's go and have a look at what everyone's been saying in the chat. And guys, just to let you know that we've had a secret word that we've been slotting in tonight. All of the pundits have slotted them in very imaginative and clever ways, which I just love. Let's see who can actually tell us what the secret word with. But I'm going to go through some of the things that people have been saying here on the chat when I get down to it. Just scrolling down past the shirt bit. Here we go. So we've got obviously Aaron's gone Neves v Derby. Tenbury Wells Martin. Neves against Derby, never be beaten. Here's one for you. Gudierrez v Millwall in 2011 Cup game was unreal. People are nodding. Jack's nodding at that one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Paul Harris, Steve Bullaway at Tranmere. That quick Eric Nixon didn't realise it had gone in. Mm-hmm. Carl's gone with obviously the Mark Kennedy goal against Walsall when he ran through the defence, scored a screener. Kevin's gone again, Neves v Derby. Here's Lana, Don Goodman and David Kelly 1-2 in the FA Cup, and Neves against Derby.
Leicester, that was.
So he knows his stuff, you see. Again, we've got Neves v Derby. You've just mentioned it, the Ebanks-Blake v Charlton in 2008. Yeah. Classic. I'll remember that. Andy Gray against Man United in 1979. Paul, were you there?
Steady. I'm not that old. Steady on.
Edgeley Park, the social club. Oh, that's not that one. Rob Hindmarsh at the Porthorns.
My first away game, that.
No way. Really? How old were you?
Like 5 or 6.
Oh, Rob Hindmarsh at the Porthorns. I love it. Tenbury Wells again. Hibbett flying volley in the League Cup final. Fantastic.
I'll throw another one in.
Yeah.
Remember George and Dar at Preston?
Yeah.
George and Dar, my lord. George and Dar. Actually, that's changed to Jose Sarr now, but yeah.
Yeah.
Picked it up in his own half, didn't he? And beat a few players. Yeah. Very memorable goal, that.
And then Ualumo's overhead kick at Preston as well.
Yeah. He got sent off, didn't he, that game?
Yeah.
Robbie Dennison
got a hat-trick and got sent off.
Got Robbie Dennison against Man City. Bothroyd Leeds.
Yeah.
And let's just Ebanks-Blake in a commercial. I mentioned Ebanks-Blake in the comments. Well done. Yeah, got that.
There you go.
Charlton goal, great choice, Jack. Seb.
What about Michael Branch against Nottingham Forest?
Michael Branch against Forest, crikey.
What about Alan Smith's own goal? Remember that at the near post?
That one, yeah.
That was a cracker.
Yeah.
Matthew's gone with Matt Doherty's goal against City in 2019. Dave Jones free kick. Is that the one where he flicked it up and volleyed it?
Yeah.
I'd love to see that free kick replica. That was he literally passed it to him. He flicked it up and volleyed it straight in, didn't it? It was a great goal.
Has anyone mentioned Jody Craddock's volley?
Yeah, I've seen it in the comments. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Look at that.
V Bradford in 2007.
Wow. Yeah. Centre off. Yeah.
That was it was classic. A couple of Neves against Derby County. Jess Thomas versus Sunderland.
Yeah. Shame he got injured in that match.
How do you remember these things?
He scored a great goal, didn't he, to make it 2-0. He picked it up again in his own half, but then got a really serious injury that kept him out pretty much for the rest of the season.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that is.
Alex Ray against Bolton.
Oh, that wasn't that clocked at something like nearly 80 miles an hour, that?
Yeah.
Paul Harris, Hibbett actually kicked the goal in 74. It came off his heel, apparently. There you go. Hey, we got Paul Birch on his Wolves debut versus West Ham. We've got loads in here. Hugh Curran, a home to Forest in 1970, left foot pile driver. How about that? Tom Bennett v Charlton at Upton Park. Bobby Gould, donkey kick in the 70s. Dave, late winner. Oh, I mean, there's so many, isn't there, that go on there? But that was really, really good. But has anyone guessed what the secret word is at all? You've got 30 seconds before we all reveal the secret word. We'll count everyone in and we'll say it. If not, that means it's 2 to the pundits, 1 to the chat, because the chat took the lead 3 weeks ago and got in the lead with Eagles. Last week we leveled up with Hollywood, and this week it looks as if going into added time at the end of the match, looking at the referees, looking at his watch. It isn't goal. No, goal. We talk with, I mean, that's nice and easy, goal. It's going to be a word that you won't think of, not goal. I mean, we say goal every game. Not
with Wolves, we don't.
Not with Wolves, we don't. Not with Wolves, we don't. All right, I'm going to count you in 10. Not Sarabia. I mean, look at Andrew. I mean, come on. The elephant. It's not elephant. It's not song. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's not shirt either. So, guys, I'm going to count us in. We're going to go 3, 2, 1, and we're all going to say the word at the same time. You ready? Okay. 3, 2, 1. Cartoon. I said cartoon about Traore running rings around everyone. Lucy, you said cartoon. What did you say?
The cartoon character, Traore, going up to the ball, keeping the ball in.
And Jack, what did you say?
Lopetegui on the touchline, like a cartoon character.
And Paul, finally.
I think it was about the Neves goal that people's eyes were popping out of the head like cartoon characters.
Absolute genius this week, guys, that we got those in. So, again, this is going to become a regular feature. So there's always going to be a secret word that I'm going to ask the pundits to slip in every week. And then we're going to take it. So it's 2-1 to the pundits. But you will have your chance to get back at the next one when we think of the next secret word. And the reason I come up with obviously BAFTAs last week was Hollywood. Eagles was because of the NFL. The reason I came up with 2 this week is because it's the League Cup final. Manchester United were playing Newcastle. Newcastle are known as the Toon, so that's how I come up with cartoon. So there's always a link to something going on there as well. Andrew Knight has said, well played, pundits, well played. Great video tonight, Sunday Night Entertainment every weekend. Julie Maron says, oh, wow, absolutely fantastic. Guys, it's been a pleasure. We've done just over 1 hour all together. Absolutely brilliant show. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you're watching this back on the playback, join in the comments, and it'll be out on the podcast, as always, Monday morning for you to listen to as well. And let's hope we do get a good performance and some results against Liverpool on Wednesday night at Anfield. Until then, from myself, Lucy, Paul, and Jack, always Wolves.
Always Wolves.